Choosing the right tire for your big adventure bike or dual sport can be complicated, but choosing the wrong tire is frustrating. The wrong tire can limit your bike's capabilities and eat away at your confidence. We all know that confidence on a motorcycle is one of the biggest things. When you're comfortable, riding becomes simpler, difficult terrain is easier to manage, and you'll have a better time. It's really that simple. So tires are compromises enough, with the manufacturers trying to balance grip against wear. There's no such thing as a tire that grips like glue and lasts forever, as much as we'd love to have one. But when you're talking about dual sport tires, those compromises multiply. So the first thing to ask yourself, what's the most important characteristic for the kind of riding I'm going to do? Think about how often you go off-road, or how many miles you spend on the highway just getting to your favorite spots. Thinking about these will help point you in the right direction. In dual sport tires, there's a wide range to choose from to make life a little easier. Now, we classify tires by their on-road and off-road percentages. That is, how much time you think you'll spend on each type of surface. So let's start with the so-called 90-10 tire, like this Michelin Anarchy 3. It's really meant for 90% road and 10% in the dirt. It looks like a road tire because basically that's what it is. It has just a few tread tweaks as a nod toward off-road capabilities. But like most street tires, the Anarchy, and other tires like it, has a conventional tread profile and very few grooves or sipes in the tread. It's really designed to be long-wearing with good grip and good handling on the road, and to be quiet. Those are the core requirements. If you rarely go off-road, the 90-10 tire is a good choice, especially if what little off-roading you do is in dry conditions or on hard-packed dirt or shallow gravel. Terrain much more demanding than that reveals these tires for what they are, toughened up street hoops. At the other end of the spectrum are tires strongly biased toward the dirt. The Mifo Stonemaster is a good example of a 1090 tire, meant almost exclusively for off-road use. Now, slightly less dirt biased is the Mitas E09 and the Continental TKC 80, along with a new entry in the class from Michelin called the Anarchy Wild. All these tires have characteristics in common. They have large, knobby tread blocks for excellent off-road traction. These big blocks allow dirt and mud to move through the tire, helping to clear it. Plus, the larger voids between the blocks gives more surface area to the knob itself, makes it available for traction. That's why they hook up in the dirt. If you compare these tires to a pure dirt tire, you'll see that the tread blocks tend to be bigger and somewhat shorter. Now, that's for several reasons. First is that the big adventure bikes handle a lot better with more contact patch on the ground. Of course, the smaller the knob, the smaller the contact patch. The second is that these heavy, powerful bikes like the BMW GS or the KTM Adventure, would chew through a dirt-only knobby in absolutely short order. So even these off-road bias tires are a compromise of sorts. Still, this group of tires, which we rate anywhere from 90 to 60% for the dirt, is excellent across a wide variety of off-road terrain, from muddy trails to sand washes. And if your adventure riding is truly biased towards staying off the highway, this is the class of tire that you want. Of course, there's another compromise to that. Tires biased for off-road riding do have limitations. For one, they're noisy on the road, and they tend to get a bit sketchy in the wet conditions on the road. Again, small contact patch. They can also wear quickly and sometimes give your bike some odd steering characteristics because the profile that's right for the dirt is not necessarily the one that's ideal for on-road handling, especially a heavily loaded bike. Oh yeah, and these tires definitely wear faster than a street-oriented tire. You'll probably not notice many of these limitations, and if you really ride mostly off-road, this is the kind of tire you'll want. Now, most of us don't always ride off-road, so what would be ideal here is a compromise within a compromise, and that's where the 50-50 tire comes in. Tires like the Mifo Explorer, the Mitas E07, and the Heidenau K60 take elements from street tires and knobbies to provide what may be the best of both worlds. Compared to a pure street tire, this kind of tire has more distinct tread blocks with more space between them. It's ideal for digging into loam, sand, and even a bit of mud. Now, like a pure dirt tire, the idea here is the tire sinks into the dirt, seeing better traction just below. But because there are more blocks, the contact patch is larger, which helps on-road handling and wear. Now look at the Heidenau, which the rear version has a continuous center strip. So it's designed to resist wear and to give you that large contact patch. Think about it, every time a knob comes in contact with the pavement under a 600-pound dirt bike, it has to conform, which causes heat and wear on the leading edge of the knob. The bigger and more contiguous the tread box, the less of that happens. Now there's something else to consider. Tires designed for off-road work, including 50-50 types, are toughened up for the job. They tend to have a stiffer construction and more rubber overall, so they survive rock impacts and landings. This is especially important if you're running these tires without tubes, which is common on the newer big-inch adventure machines like the KTM or the GS. Now, many riders who do a significant amount of off-roading find a happy medium in the 50/50 tire. It's good enough for on-road for touring and commuting, and it's good enough off-road to build confidence even over some pretty gnarly terrain. For a lot of BMW GS, KTM Adventure, and Kawasaki KLR owners, the 50/50 tire is the perfect compromise. Now, we have a lot of sizes on our site. Come visit us at TwistedThrottle.com, shop by bike, find your motorcycle, we'll show you what fits.